Okay, today we're going to talk about how you can master some seriously overwhelming research with a tool that honestly feels like a superpower. And this whole thing is based on a real story that sounds, well, almost impossible. Just let that sink in for a second. 50 medical papers in one afternoon. I mean, that sounds nuts, right? It's something you'd expect from a super genius in a movie, not something a regular person could actually do. So, the obvious question is how? How in the world could one person possibly take in and actually understand that much dense technical information in just a couple of hours?
Well, the answer isn't some human trick. Nope, it's not about speed reading or having a photographic memory. It was all done using a very specific AI tool, a new kind of technology that's completely changing the game for how we make sense of complex subjects.
And this gets to a problem that I think every single one of us has run into. I call it the expert information gap. You know that feeling, right? When you're staring at a stack of documents full of jargon and fine print, but you know you have to understand it to make a huge life decision. And we're not talking about abstract stuff here. We're talking about trying to decipher medical studies for a family member, or navigating Medicare documents, or making sense of a legal contract before you sign it. You know, the kind of things that become more and more common as we get older and the stakes just get higher and higher. These are things you just can't afford to get wrong. So what do you do? How do you cross that gap? Well, let's pull back the curtain on the tool that makes this possible. It's a free tool from Google, and it's called Notebook LM. Think of it as your very own personal AI analyst. So here's how it works, and it's pretty brilliant. Imagine you could hire a world-class research assistant. You could just hand them a mountain of papers, and poof, they've instantly read, memorized, and understood every single word. That's what Notebook LM does. It takes that messy pile of documents and turns it into one unified knowledge base that you can actually have a conversation with. And you know what the best part is? It's not some crazy complicated thing to use. There's a really simple 5-step process that literally anyone can follow to get up to speed on pretty much any topic. So let's just walk through it real quick. Okay, step 1, gather up all your source material. This could be medical studies from a site like PubMed, your legal contracts, whatever you've got. Step 2, upload the whole batch into what's called a notebook. 3, you give it a little context. You tell it who you are and what you're trying to figure out. 4, and this is the fun part, you start asking really good, specific questions. And finally, 5, you save the answers that matter most, basically building your own custom cheat sheet. And this is where the magic of step 4 really shines. You get to go way beyond just searching for keywords. You can ask these deep, analytical questions, just like a real researcher would. You can ask, hey, what do all 50 of these papers agree on? Or where do the experts disagree? It's about getting real analysis, not just finding facts. So for example, instead of just asking a vague question like, what are the side effects? You can get super precise. You can ask something like this, targeting the exact piece of information you need to move forward. Now listen up, because this right here is the absolute game changer. The AI doesn't just give you an answer from thin air, it tells you exactly where it got that information, right down to the source and the page number. And you can just click that citation to see it for yourself. This is so important. It means every answer is grounded in the documents you provided. It's not just making things up. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and talk about what this really means, because this is about so much more than just a neat piece of tech. It's really about changing how we approach expert knowledge itself. It's about going from being confused to having a real conversation. And I need to be crystal clear about this. This tool is not about replacing your doctor or your lawyer or your financial advisor. You absolutely still need their expertise and their judgment to make the final call for your unique situation. What this does is it completely transforms the quality of the conversation you can have with those experts. You go from walking in feeling overwhelmed with just some vague ideas to walking in feeling empowered with specific, sourced questions. It turns a one-sided lecture into a true informed discussion. And that leads to a totally different and frankly, way better outcome. And what makes this all so amazing is just how accessible it is. First off, it's free. You don't need any special tech skills to use it. And this is huge. It's private by default. Google is very clear that they don't use your personal documents to train their AI models, so it's safe for sensitive information. And it takes just about any format you can throw at it, PDFs, web pages, you name it. When you step back and think about it, the big picture here is, well, it's profound. For maybe the first time ever, that huge knowledge gap between a regular person and a specialist is actually starting to close. You or I can now dig into complex, specialized fields at a level that used to take years and years of dedicated study. That is what real empowerment looks like. It's the ability to truly understand the information that shapes the biggest decisions of your life. It's a superpower, and it's just sitting there, hiding in plain sight, available to anyone who wants to use it. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. Think about that one area in your life, whether it's about health or finances or a legal issue, that's always felt too complicated, too out of reach. What's the one big question that you've been waiting to finally answer for yourself?